We're all taught that our ancient past is a pretty simple story, right? A straight line of progress. But what if, hidden deep inside our oldest myths and carved into our most ancient stones, there's a secret code, a cipher, written not in words we can read, but in the language of the stars? So let's just start with a really big question. What if that whole story we know about human history, the slow climb from primitive cave dwellers to us today, what if it's just completely wrong? I mean, just think about this for a second. What if there was some kind of globally influential, incredibly advanced civilization that just got lost to time? A culture whose knowledge was so deep that its echoes are still bouncing around today, hidden in myths and religions and ancient ruins all over the world. It really hints at a past that is way more complex than we ever imagined. Okay, so to even start digging into this mystery, we have to learn a language that our ancient ancestors clearly knew inside and out. It's a language that connects the ground right under our feet to the cosmos way up above our heads. And that's where this really cool field comes in, astroarchaeology. It's this fascinating discipline, and it's all built on one simple observation. Ancient cultures, all over the planet, were completely obsessed with the sky. They built these massive, complicated structures precisely aligned to the movements of the sun, the moon, and the stars. So you have to ask, right? Why? Why go to all that trouble, extraordinary trouble, to build these monuments that basically act like giant cosmic clocks or calendars? Was it really just for planting crops? Or were they tracking something way more important? Something that actually held the key to their entire view of the world? All right, so our first real clue in this cosmic detective story comes from a system we all think we know, the zodiac. But what if I told you the version we use today is, well, incomplete? That there's a piece, a very important piece, that's missing. Yep, you heard me. That neat and tidy 12-sign system that's used in modern astrology, it's actually a later simplification. The original system, the one that pre-Babylonian cultures were using, it was totally different. It was more complex, and you could argue, more complete. And this is where it all changed. About 3,000 years ago, the Babylonians, they wanted to make the zodiac fit perfectly into their 12-month calendar. So what did they do? They just dropped one of the original 13 constellations, just like that. A decision made for convenience that has literally clouded our view of the ancient sky ever since. So who got kicked out of the cosmic club? Ophiuchus, the Serpent Bearer. Now, this is not just some random detail. The serpent is one of the most powerful and persistent symbols in ancient myths all over the world. So remember that serpent. It is going to be very, very important later on. Okay, so we've got this crucial number 13. But is there any, physical proof that it was important in the ancient world? Well, let's take a look at Nevalı Çori, a site in what is now Turkey. In its oldest layer, dated to around 10,000 years ago, what did archaeologists find? Exactly 13 T-shaped pillars, all arranged in a perfect square. Is that a coincidence? Or is it a physical monument to this lost 13-sign zodiac? Now, let's build on that, because this isn't just about one little missing sign. It's about a dynamic, constantly changing sky. And all those ancient myths about gods battling it out for control of the heavens, well, they might not be myths at all. They might actually be a record of real, observable changes happening in the stars. See, this all happens because of a scientific phenomenon called precession. The easiest way to think about it is like the Earth is a spinning top that's slowly, slowly wobbling. This wobble takes about 26,000 years to complete just one cycle. And during that massive span of time, the star that looks like the fixed northern pole in our sky actually changes. And as you can see, this change is pretty dramatic. 12,000 years ago, around the time Göbekli Tepe was built, the North Star was a star called Deneb in the constellation of Cygnus the Swan. But fast forward to about 5,000 years ago, when Sumer and Egypt were on the rise, and the pole star was Thuban in the constellation Draco, the serpent or the dragon. The celestial ruler had changed. And for the ancients, when the ruler of the heavens changes, everything on Earth changes too. You've probably heard the famous Greek myth about Kronos, or Saturn, devouring his own children. The story goes that he was terrified of a prophecy that one of his sons would overthrow him. But what if this isn't really about gods and their kids? What if it's an allegory for this exact cosmic power struggle, just written down in the language of myth? So let's decode it. The old king, Saturn or Kronos, he can be seen as representing the era when Draco, the serpent, was the pole star. The sun who overthrows him, Jupiter or Zeus, is often linked with the bull, Taurus, representing a brand new celestial age. And then you have figures like Mithra, who are tied to the power of the sun itself. The myths are really just a celestial drama playing out over thousands and thousands of years. And this is where all our clues, the lost zodiac, the warring star gods, that powerful serpent symbol, this is where they all lead, to one incredible place. A 12,000-year-old temple in Turkey that might just be the Rosetta Stone for this ancient cosmic language. Göbekli Tepe. The idea here is actually pretty simple, but wow, is it profound. The theory is that the intricate animal carvings covering these massive T-shaped pillars at Göbekli Tepe, they aren't just decorations. They actually form a map of the sky, a snapshot of a very specific moment in time, recording some kind of cosmic event that was massively important to its builders. Okay, so let's break down the main players carved on these stones. We see a bull, a scorpion, a snake, and a dog or a fox. Now, in the language of astroarchaeology, these aren't just animals. They are constellations. Taurus, Scorpio, Draco, and Sirius, the dog star. The very same cosmic powers we just saw battling it out in all those ancient myths. Okay, now here's where it all just clicks into place. Just look at this comparison. On the left, you've got a famous carving from a temple of the Roman god Mithra, made about 2,000 years ago. On the right, you have the carvings from Göbekli Tepe, from 12,000 years ago. The central symbols are identical, a bull being attacked by a scorpion, a snake, and a dog. How on earth is it possible for the exact same complex cosmic story to be told 10,000 years apart, unless both cultures were pulling from the same, incredibly ancient source of knowledge? So the story that's carved at Göbekli Tepe appears to be a record of a cosmic coup d'etat. The old celestial order, represented by the bull, is being overthrown by this new coalition of powers, the serpent, the scorpion, and the dog. And they carved it in stone, creating a permanent record designed to tell this story for eternity. Which really leaves us with one final, just staggering thought. Maybe our oldest monuments aren't just tombs or temples. Maybe they're libraries, forgotten history books whose language we are only just now beginning to relearn. A history not of kings and empires here on Earth, but of a vast cyclical struggle for power, written in the stars above. You have to wonder, what else are they trying to tell us?